videos on relationships, especially romantic relationships. And if you're looking to transition from that dating stage into marriage, you're going to need to have some deep, substantial, revealing conversations. Why? So you can understand the person you're going to marry. So let's look at Patrick Bet David, PBD. He talks about this issue.
One of the most important books I read on relationship was 101 Questions to Ask Before You Get Engaged. I read this book, and the woman I thought I wanted to marry was like, no, that's not what you're looking for. You want this. Like, wow. Out of the 101 questions, like 54 of them were important to me. So then I was talking to 4 girls at that time. I gave them all the books. And I said, I need you to read this book, and let's have a meeting together to go through the answers. I knew 3 of them wasn't going to work out. My wife and I had a 6-hour meeting with that book. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Let's date for a year and a half, then I'm going to marry this girl. We date for a year and a half. We have a bunch of fights, and then eventually I'm like, no, I'm going to marry this girl. But I knew after I read the book, this could be somebody I can invest my time into. But most people don't marry based on values and principles. Most people marry based on nice breasts, based on a beautiful butt, based on a beautiful face, based on an incredible chemistry in the bedroom. Sex was great. You went to a nightclub, you danced good together, you have a blast together, you laugh together. All of that stuff aren't the reasons to marry.
But in the clip, PBD talked about this book called 101 Questions to Ask Before You Get Engaged. And this is a book that should be on everyone's reading list. It's on mine. It's on my reading list. It's on my reading list because I plan to read it. If you are serious about marriage, I suggest you get the book. So PPD said that he had a 6-hour meeting with his future wife to discuss the questions from this book. So if a relationship is going to last, it needs to be built upon a solid foundation. Just like a house, you wouldn't build a house upon sand because it won't last very long. So in a relationship, especially if you're making that transition from dating to like marriage, the foundation needs to be strong. And in this case, the foundation, as PPD mentioned, is ethics and morals. And you have to make sure that your potential partner, that your ethics and your morals are aligned. So that later down the line, there aren't sort of like surprises. You're like, whoa, where's this coming from? Whereas if you had gone through this approach of really going deep, really digging deep, being really vulnerable with your potential partner, then later down the line it makes things a little bit easier. Even though I've said this before, relationships are hard work. I believe I did the video 50-50. Relationships aren't 50-50. So if you haven't seen that, go and watch that. And as always, let me know your thoughts down below.
To support the show, there are 2 ways you can go about that: PayPal and Cash App. Cash App, #TunjiTalks, that's #TunjiTalks, that's #TunjiTalks, or PayPal, paypal.me/TunjiTalks, that's paypal.me/TunjiTalks, that's paypal.me/TunjiTalks.